Chair. I would like to thank the witnesses and also thank my colleagues on the Conservative side and the Liberal side for bringing this forward to committee. I think it's really important. We've read about it, and some of it's happening in your hometown, and it's good to see your faces and hear your stories, even though you're in going through severe hardship. And what I think is important now is that the committee, yes, is listening to you. I think it'll be really important that we get some answers from CFIA because there seems to be a lot of problems. The need to have veterinary people from the local area being used. I think that's really important that we use local expertise. The fact that you're not getting answers is really a big concern. Not being called back from a head vet takes 10 days. And the need for having some kind of government support, not through the programs that we have in Growing Forward. We need immediate government support and aid to make sure that you guys can pay those bills. The number you gave us, you're paying, what is it, $92,000?
On a third of my herd.
That will probably end up just, yeah. It's astounding. So what I'm really hoping to do is after this meeting, I really encourage the committee that we write a report or maybe a letter to the minister. And I would like to have CFIA and another meeting on this issue, because I don't think an hour is enough time to really delve into this. And I think we need to go further, and we need to make sure that there's compensation and help, because these people are suffering, and we can't lose this industry in Alberta and Saskatchewan. It's too important. So I guess would I have to put forward a motion that we would have another study date? Can I do that?
You can put a motion for sure,
Okay.
yes.
So I'd like to officially put forward a motion that the Agriculture Committee has a meeting as soon as possible with government officials, CFIA present, to respond to the questions, to respond to this emergency. There's a lot of questions around, maybe even the command center that they have. There's a lot of issues going on there. So I think we need heads of government, and I know the minister will be coming, I think, on the 29th for a supplementary study. But if you would come even maybe to talk about this, I think it would be really important to have something from the Minister of Agriculture on this.
So, is there any Mr. Anderson?
I'm not going to drag out the debate because we want to hear from the witnesses, but I would second the motion from the member.
Okay. Any comments, Mr. Drouin?
Yeah, if the goal is to get the minister to act quickly, I don't think committee is going to get it done by next week or the following week. I think we should just, you're all going to see the minister at question period. Just walk over after and ask him. But if you want to, I'm open to studying the issue after, but that's not going to help these farmers right now. Looking at CFIA in 4 days or next week, what we're hearing is they need help right now.
Yeah, the minister can give help right now, but there's
but
obviously
doing it in
problems
committee,
with
I'm just not sure if it's the proper vehicle.
There's obviously problems with CFIA, and I think we need them here.
Mr. Longfield?
Yeah, I agree that we all want to take action, but I don't think the committee and having CFIA come in, I think we can be requesting CFIA to respond to what we're hearing in public, and we have brought the group in public so that we can get everything on the record, and that should in itself draw some attention to the issue and escalate things. We are in the middle of the ag policy framework, which this is feeding into for sure, but we've got a very limited time on that as well. So in terms of our priorities is to get action on today's topic ASAP, like right now, within the next days, versus drawing out another study. I don't think we need to study this. I think we need to see action on it.
Thank you. Mr. Picciolito.
I would agree with Madame Brousseau that we need action on this, because this is just awful. But I don't think that the way to do that is to bring the minister to deal with this issue at committee or bring CFIA. We need some action. And I think the best way, as Mr. Longfield and Mr. Drouin said, is that we need to advise and urge them to act.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson?
Well, just hopefully a final point. We brought this issue up in the House of Commons. We've got no response at all. We do need action, and certainly if we pass this motion and we've got action in a week that's acceptable to the ranchers and farmers, we'd be glad to pull the motion back, I'm sure. We need CFIA here. Even those of us who are MPs can't seem to get answers. I asked for a briefing the other day and I was told I have to go through the minister's office. So the folks on the other side maybe don't understand how slowly CFIA works and responds to any of us, including the ministers. We need to have them here and have them explain what's going on the ground
Mr.
and how they can do better.
Madam Brosso.
I think at least there's consensus around the table from all parties that there's urgent action needed. So to have urgent action right now, why can't we write a letter from the Agriculture Committee based on what we've heard to the Minister of Agriculture asking for compensation for these farmers? I think we could all agree on that, right?
So just to make sure, we have a motion on the
table,
floor
so-
to bring CFIA here
Yeah.
and the government official. I think that's
Yeah,
the
but
basic.
then I guess a separate issue I would like to bring up is I think that we need to write the Minister of Agriculture and make sure that he's going to take
Okay,
action
well,
on
we'll deal with the
compensation.
motion right now. So is there any other comments on the motion that's on the floor? So I will ask.
All in favor?
I will ask
That's
if
a recorded vote.
everybody's in favor. Can you
Jack?
raise your hand if you're?
Yeah.
So really, we have,
Is it a recorded vote?
we can do a
I'd
recorded
like a
vote.
recorded vote,
So
please.
let's make sure who votes here, though.
I did a report.
Okay, so all in favor of the motion, please indicate.
Yeah, for recorded division, I have to call the names.
Okay, sure, yeah, that's right. Okay, go ahead then.
On the motion, Monsieur Breton? Monsieur Drouin? Ms. Lockhart? Mr. Longfield?
No.
Mr. Pescasolido?
Against.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Monsieur Gould? Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Madame Brosseau?
We,
Defeated 5-4.
So the motion is defeated 5-4. So any other comments before we continue our, Mr. Sorensen?
I defer back to Ms. Brassard on the letter.
Okay, Madame Brosseau?
sorry, I think it's important, and when we were talking about the motion, I think there was consensus from everybody around the table based on what we've heard today and based on what we know what's going on. We need to have action now. Questions have been asked in the House of Commons. We didn't really get any kind of answers. We don't have anything from CFIA. I think what we need to do is write the Minister of Agriculture and let him know what we've heard today and why he needs to act urgently to compensate the industry and these farmers right now. We need a promise, we need numbers, we need help. And I think we could all be on the same page about the need to act now and reassure the industry and reassure these guys that have shared their stories with us here today.
So would this be a motion, Ms. Brosseau, to write a
Yes,
letter?
write a letter.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
another motion that we write a letter to the minister and to CFIA, is that what I understood? To the minister?
Well, yeah, write a letter to the minister
Okay.
about how he needs to act right now and compensate and come up with a plan for the industry and for these farmers. But then also, we still need to have CFIA come in. There are some huge issues with CFIA. Are they funded adequately? These guys are not getting the answers that they need in a timely fashion, and it's completely despicable. It's frustrating. This should not be happening. So we need to have CFIA in here to explain what is going on. Is it problems with funding? Is it problems with people on the ground? We need to better understand this to make sure that this does not happen again. And if there is money needed to go to CFIA, more people, boots on the ground, we got to
So,
take forward.
Just to make sure, so we write a letter, the motion is to
Yeah.
write a letter to the minister, but also to have CFIA appear, which was just defeated, just to make sure
Yeah,
that
I
that's
know.
part of your motion.
Well, just a letter, sorry, just the letter.
Okay, just a letter, okay.
Yeah.
So discussion, Monsieur Drouin?
Can we, I don't necessarily disagree with Madame Brousseau, but can we get to the end of the meeting and then we can discuss this? Because we're sort of spearheading, can we listen to the witnesses and then we can discuss the letter? As Mr. Anderson suggested, he didn't want to take too much time, so now we've just wasted about 6 minutes from not hearing from the witnesses.
That's my 6 minutes I could use as I want. I don't think it's a waste. I'm sorry.
Madame Brosseau, you have some, anybody else? You want to continue with your motion?
I think we could vote on that quickly, a letter to the minister asking for action, and then we could decide later on as a committee what is to be included.
Debate, we will vote, so all in favor of the motion by Mrs. Brosseau?
It's recorded again?
You want it recorded?
Yeah.
Okay, on the motion, Monsieur Breton? Monsieur Drouin? Ms. Lockhart? Mr. Longfield? Mr. Pescasolido?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Monsieur Gould. Mr. Shipley. Madame Brosseau.
Let's see, wait.
Okay, so the motion has been carried. Any further discussion? If not, we will move to our next, Monsieur Longfield for 6 minutes.